Hey guys, it's Gitsie and welcome to my first game review here on YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at a game called Narborion Saga, which is a game that is developed by Liber Primus Games, which is a small 6-man team. If you want to find out more about the development team, you can head over to narborion.com or you can go to Twitter where they are at Narborion Saga. Now, this game is a classic RPG style game with an interactive novel feature and also some choose your own adventure elements to it as well. There's some head scratcher mini games involved, so it keeps you on your toes a little bit, and it's ideal for those who like games such as D&D, Pathfinder. I also find it comparable to games like Diablo, the Warhammer series, and also RTS games like Sid Meier's Civ. As we head into the character creation screen, you can see that it's very similar to a character sheet that you receive with a lot of tabletop RPGs, so veterans of the genre are going to really love this element. As you can see, you've got some modifying ability points that you can add, and as it always tells you in these kind of games, dexterity will be incredibly important, so make sure you level that up. I made the mistake the first time that I played this game of not leveling up my dexterity, thinking that it would be slightly different. It is not. You need dexterity. I chose to play a tanky character, so I put a lot of my ability points in strength, which worked out well for me in the end. But you can play any type of character that you want. If you want to play more of a mage character, obviously you can put some of your points into things like charisma. I named the character Gitsie Bits after myself. I apologise that you will see that game on every screen from now on. You also have skill points that you can assign, so you can have skills like climbing, jumping, you can also have things like search. Feats are there as well, so you can have attack buffs, and if your character is a mage you can also incorporate some spells. My character was not a magic wielding character, so I just skipped that part altogether. The best bit for me is where you can load up, so you've got the classic sort of RPG things like a flint and steel, so you can create fire, which obviously I purchased. You've also got a reel of rope, which is important for all adventurers, as we've found out many times before. I chose to skip out on the rations, and I went for some sort of heavier items, such as this amazing warhammer. You can see there the attack, the damage, and the critical hit information. There's also an overhit bonus on this as well, which is quite a nice feature. So I decided to arm myself with that. I also decided to go for a small shield, just for a small defense bonus, but there are other items as well, such as chainmail, hide armor. You can also purchase things like a dagger, a flail, a saber, a sword, and a spear. So you really can create any kind of character that you choose to create. All of the information about the items is included. You can then also choose an avatar of your character. I decided to go for the most paladin looking member of the team. When you head into the interactive novel, you can see the artwork is inspired, I think, heavily by RPGs of times gone by, but there is a new sort of twist on it. You can then start your adventure. Throughout the adventure you will have your character sheet available to you to the right hand side of the screen. You can also view your inventory from here, your spellbook, your skills, etc. Now, the story jumps straight into some training combat, so you can learn exactly how you can fight. For anyone that is a veteran of RPGs, this will be very familiar to you. It's based on a square system, so my character's movement at the moment it depends on how many squares they can move. So you can see that the enemy can move 4 squares and I can move 5. You roll the dice, and whoever gets the highest dice roll is then successful in that hit. When you are successful in a battle, you gain some extra buffs percentage wise and also just some points. So our XP has gone up, you can see our combat score and our adventure score has increased, and a nice little bonus, we got some extra gold as well, which is pretty good. The one thing that I really like about this game is that it is choose your own adventure in a lot of ways. You can influence the way that your story is told by clicking on different parts of the game throughout the entire stretch of your journey. For instance, in this encounter, we were telling a princess that we would be at her disposal in order to start our adventure. There is also a map dynamic in this game, so you can move between different towns and push your adventure on. When you go into a new episode, it does give you some information about exactly where it is that you are, and throughout the adventure you can obviously interrupt what you're doing to do mini quests and side quests and mini games. One of the mini games that I found to be actually quite difficult, but we'll move on straight from there. So in the adventure you get to go to different towns, and they are displayed on a map basis, which makes it very easy for you to move around, especially if you're not familiar with this genre. Thankfully though, the storytelling element of this is what I find to be the most impressive. So you have a great amount of information fed to you via the interactive novel. The artwork for it is absolutely stunning. It really does make you feel immersed. When you go to the town, you can enter different shops and you can talk to different merchants, so you can buy potions, rings, armor, new weapons, you can have your future told by the soothsayer, or different kind of things like that. Obviously that will cost you gold, but as you go through, your gold does increase, so you have more gold to spend. If you decide that you want to stop in the inn, for instance, you can buy flagons of ale for yourselves and any companions that you may have. One thing that I would like to see in this game is a multiplayer option. It does require you to sign in to travel to different towns, so it does seem like that might be an option in the future to have a multiplayer element to it. As we're saying, the artwork in this game is absolutely amazing, and none more so than when you see the maps in the game. They really have put a huge amount of effort and time into making them look amazing. With all classic RPGs, you also have things like a dexterity check before you go into a battle, and it's not just humans that you fight. You're fighting giant spiders, as you can see here, which didn't work out too well for me, but you also get to fight things such as like goblins and a wolf, as far as I can see, and there are many other monsters out there, which you'll see shortly I kind of succumb to. The way that you move around the map in combat is very typical of RPG games. Like I said, it's based on a square by square basis, so my character's movement speed is a 5, so I get to move 5 squares, which is the equivalent to around 25 to 30 feet. If you face an enemy that maybe is a little bit too difficult, sometimes you can use your feats to give yourself a buff in battle. I unfortunately didn't do this quick enough, and as you will see very shortly, the demons did actually manage to take me down in this battle. There are some enemies that you maybe can't take on yourself, so you are able to skip out of battle. You can obviously move around the map to get away from things. The best form of defense is a good offense in my opinion, but this time it didn't work out too well for me and I did get poisoned. When you get defeated, you can obviously start again. You can regenerate your character and go back to your last save point by bookmarking. Overall, I would say that this is actually a really good game for anyone that's interested in the old RPG styles like D&D, Pathfinder and the Sid Meier games. I find that there are some elements that could be worked on. For instance, as I said, a multiplayer element would be absolutely fantastic, and some of the battle scenes could be a little bit quicker, but it is all down to the luck of the it's all down to the roll of the dice, as they say. So yeah, if you're interested in purchasing this game, it is available on Steam. Just search Narborion Saga, and as I said, you can check out the website narborion.com or head over to Twitter and speak to the guys there at Narborion Saga.